Beringia, the subcontinent twice the size of Texas. The land bridge connecting Siberia and Alaska drowned, separating Asia and America and trapping sapiens in their new vast home forever and ever. Sundaland, Southeast Asia's tropical paradise, fragmented completely. A landmass the size of India drowned, leaving only the peaks of mountains, which we know today as the beautiful tropical islands of Indonesia. Then, the climate glitched into the Younger Dryas. Within a single human lifetime, temperatures plummeted by 10 degrees, slamming the Ice Age door shut for another 1,000 years of freezing chaos indeed. Faced with starvation, sapiens did something radical. We invented agriculture, cultivating the few wild grasses that survived, transforming our species from nomadic wanderers into settled, civilized, and highly organized farmers. We survived the ice and it rewired us. Your modern anxieties, cravings for sweet, fatty foods, and instinct to gather during crisis are all evolutionary gifts from our brilliant, tough ancestors today. 20,000 years ago, an absolute monster of a glacier completely buried modern New York. Yet our ancestors somehow conquered this brutal frozen apocalypse using a rather clever piece of bone. Meet our ancient bulky cousins, the robust Neanderthals. They were physically built for the freezing cold. Yet they vanished while we, the fragile tropical sapiens, inherited the entire frozen planet. Sapiens had one major unfair trick up their sleeve. We evolved in Africa, the cozy continent least affected by those sudden, devastatingly cold stretches that froze other human subspecies to death. But sapiens could not stay in that paradise forever. We migrated out of Africa, stepping directly into a hostile, wind-swept world of endless tundra where survival seemed practically impossible for us. Our secret weapon was not brute physical strength, but fluent speech. Advanced communication allowed early sapiens to conceptualize, plan ahead, and share revolutionary survival technologies across many vast generations of families. We even spoke similar words to those used today. Linguists have traced ancient vital words like fire, ashes, and we back to these very same early sapiens Ice Age human campsites. Cave art was the prehistoric search engine database. These stunning cave paintings passed down critical knowledge about edible plants, weather patterns, and the migration routes of the massive beasts we hunted. Neanderthals lived in very small, highly isolated family groups. Meanwhile, early sapiens built massive, long-distance social alliances stretching across continents, creating a continental safety net that kept our species alive. When hunting big game, Neanderthals were far too personal indeed. They wrestled beasts up close with short-range spears, which resulted in horrific skeletal fractures and deadly, painful hunting accidents for them. Sapiens preferred the cowardly yet brilliant strategy instead. We designed light, projectile weapons that allowed us to hunt dangerous beasts from a very comfortable, highly sensible, and marginally safer distance now. Then came the Atlatl, a simple wooden lever. This ingenious stick multiplied throwing force by 400%, launching slender spears at a terrifying 150 kilometers per hour today. We also played chess with our giant prey. Instead of chasing herds blindly, sapiens planned hunts, using fire to direct and block off escape routes while communicating coordinates with fluent speech. But we did not just consume animal meat. Sapiens designed heavy groundstone tools to process wild plants, turning tough roots and seeds into highly nutritious meals during the coldest seasons. We know this because of prehistoric dental plaque. This ancient tooth garbage is a tiny time capsule, proving sapiens ate wild carrots, cattail roots, and a rather impressive delicious variety of salads. Our ancestors also understood medicine quite well indeed. They harvested chamomile for inflammation and yarrow for wounds, long before pharmacies existed, showing a deep, encyclopedic understanding of local wild plants. Yet, the greatest invention in history was needles. Dating back 50,000 years, this tiny piece of polished bone allowed our ancestors to sew tailored, waterproof, and windproof winter clothing garments. While Neanderthals wore loose, heat-stealing hides, we bundled. We double-stitched animal skins with sinew thread and sealed the seams with pitch, creating personal, mobile microclimates that defeated the extreme cold. We selected our materials like modern textile engineers. Reindeer fur was our primary winter fabric because each individual hair is hollow, trapping warm, dead air like nature's finest fiberglass insulation indeed. Wolverine fur was another genius, highly calculated choice. It is naturally hydrophobic, meaning it repels moisture and prevents freezing breath from forming skin-killing frost around the soft hood of your parka. Our clothing used a highly sophisticated layered system. We had a moisture-wicking inner layer, an insulating middle layer, and a windproof, waterproof outer hide, exactly like modern high-tech explorers do. We even made scaled-down fitted parkas for children. These tiny outfits used ground squirrel pelts to maximize warmth while allowing free movement, ensuring the next generation survived the deepest freezes easily. Natural caves were the obvious lazy shelter option, but since caves are rare and often occupied by angry cave bears, Sapiens had to become creative, inventing the world's first beautifully engineered buildings. Enter the Mammoth bone house, structured from death. These were not crude tents, but highly engineered, insulated homes constructed from 20 tons of massive, carefully selected prehistoric skeletal remains of animals. We used interlocking skulls for the foundation blocks. Shoulder blades formed protective walls, pelvises served as shingles, and heavy curved tusks were driven deep into the freezing permafrost as anchors today. We even heated and bent the solid tusks. By applying precise temperature control, Sapiens softened the dense ivory, bending it into elegant curved supports that formed a sturdy dome architecture design. Inside, the bone house was a cozy sanctuary. It maintained temperatures 40 degrees warmer than the outside freeze, complete with distinct sleeping quarters lined with soft, warm, Arctic fox fur hides. Fire was our lifesaver, but wood was scarce. So, Sapiens designed specialized hearths, using 3 distinct fires inside a single dwelling, each burning at a different temperature for different critical tasks. To burn hot without wood, we used marrow. Rendering bone fat allowed our fires to burn at over 600 degrees, hotter and cleaner than wood, using prehistoric forced air bellows effectively. We also invented the clever fatstone lamp. Hollowed stones filled with seal fat and moss wicks provided steady, portable light, conquering the endless freezing darkness of the long Arctic winters successfully. Our survival library was never written down once. It was stored in the brains of our grandmothers, who became the evolutionary libraries of early human society, keeping our family generations alive. Grandmothers possessed a 50-year botanical education indeed. They knew exactly which tubers to dig from beneath deep snow and which bitter roots were medicine rather than deadly, painful, and fatal poison. They also acted as crucial, highly dedicated tribal babysitters. The grandmother hypothesis shows Sapiens children with living grandmothers were 50% more likely to survive, boosting our overall population growth significantly. We lived in bands of 25 people. This magic number was optimized over millennia, large enough for genetic diversity, yet small enough that everyone knew, trusted, and protected everyone else. The first rule of band society was sharing. Archaeology shows Sapiens distributed meat evenly across all hearths. Either everyone ate or nobody did, drastically reducing the brutal, lethal risk of starvation. We did not have permanent kings or bosses. Leadership was flexible and shifted with context. The best tracker led the hunt, while the best seamstress organized critical clothing production projects successfully. To resolve conflicts without deadly violence, bands split. If tensions rose, Sapiens simply packed their portable shelters and moved, using geographic distance to keep peace between stubborn, angry neighbors easily. We also refused to abandon our weak friends. Skeletons reveal Sapiens who survived severe injuries and congenital disabilities, cared for, protected, and fed by their bands for many long decades indeed. But a small band of 25 could easily inbreed. To prevent this, Sapiens built massive continental marriage networks, walking hundreds of kilometers to find mates outside their small genetic circles today. We met at seasonal aggregation sites to socialize. During reindeer migrations, hundreds of Sapiens gathered, turning river crossings into massive, ancient speed dating festivals with high-stakes social negotiations and new connections. Our jewelry served as an offline social profile. Specific shell beads, amber and teeth pendants displayed your hometown, your family clan, and your marital availability at a single glance clearly. Then came our most famous partnership, the dog. Adopted from curious, less aggressive wolves, these first dogs provided sapiens with an incredible high-tech warning system and tireless hunting partners always. Wolves did not just change their behavior, they evolved. They developed unique facial muscles to raise their inner eyebrows, creating those irresistible puppy dog eyes that manipulated our sapiens' brains completely. Dogs also transformed our ancient trade and commerce. They powered history's first superhighways, pulling loaded sleds across thousands of kilometers of frozen tundra, connecting distant communities like never before today. We traded Obsidian, the ultimate Stone Age tool. This volcanic glass fractured into edges sharper than modern surgical scalpels, making it the highly coveted strategic resource of the entire ice house. Sapiens also brought beautiful music to the dark. We crafted flutes from vulture bones, using a pentatonic scale that would sound entirely natural in a modern smoky jazz club or concert hall. Songs acted as our geographic maps and coordinates. In a world without writing, sapiens sang our navigation routes, with rhythm changes indicating dangerous river rapids or safe, wind-swept mountain crossings clearly. But then, our frozen worlds began to drown. As the ice melted, sea levels rose by 400 feet, swallowing Doggerland, Europe's rich, grassy plain, beneath the cold North Sea waves. Beringia, the subcontinent twice the size of Texas. The land bridge connecting Siberia and Alaska drowned, separating Asia and America and trapping sapiens in their new vast home forever and ever. Sundaland, Southeast Asia's tropical paradise, fragmented completely. A landmass the size of India drowned, leaving only the peaks of mountains, which we know today as the beautiful tropical islands of Indonesia. Then, the climate glitched into the Younger Dryas. Within a single human lifetime, temperatures plummeted by 10 degrees, slamming the Ice Age door shut for another 1,000 years of freezing chaos indeed. Faced with starvation, sapiens did something radical. We invented agriculture, cultivating the few wild grasses that survived, transforming our species from nomadic wanderers into settled, civilized, and highly organized farmers. We survived the ice and it rewired us. Your modern anxieties, cravings for sweet, fatty foods, and instinct to gather during crisis are all evolutionary gifts from our brilliant, tough ancestors today.
Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, click like and follow.